Mentor and Teaching Layer. Layer Lowdown. This layer discusses the importance of being a good friend. It also shows how one person can make a big difference in someone's life. When you see someone that may be struggling or constantly feels upset, help them. Be a good friend to them. Be a role model to them. If there is someone, even if they are your age, that might be struggling on doing the right thing, to the best extent possible, be that role model that can help show them the right path. You can make that difference. This layer also discusses how individuals on the spectrum can sometimes have a deep need to do good for others. This could be due to wanting to help make a difference in someone's life, and also so the individual with autism can be helpful and realize how much value they have to others. Into the layer. Okay, everyone, it's time for the grand reveal of who the mystery person is. This is none other than my beloved mentor of 13 years, Peter Colorali. This is his actual name. For those of you that read my first book, you probably already knew this. I'm sure once my mentor reads this book, he will be cringing, which I'm perfectly fine with. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again for anyone who hasn't read my first book. My high school counselor, who was one of the few people that I felt supported by at the time, suggested that I get a mentor through a program that they have at the high school. This was suggested due to the amount of isolation I felt from my peers and the amount of trouble I got into. Seriously, I got a 5-day suspension during my 3rd week of high school for getting into a fight, which I lost badly. Got my first and only black eye too. Go figure. I didn't want one at first because I thought it meant I wasn't smart and needed help. The counselor convinced my dad to sign me up, and I'm glad he did, because not meeting him would have been the biggest mistake of my life. We met on Monday, January 31st, 2011. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was wearing a white t-shirt with a Chinese New Year insignia on it, a gray and black flannel that was unbuttoned over it, and khaki cargo pants. Yeah, my sense of fashion was not well developed in that time period. Oh boy. He was wearing a light blue short-sleeve button-down shirt tucked into medium blue jeans. He came in with a McDonald's bag and beverages. We greeted each other and went to a private room in the building. He asked me if I wanted a Big Mac or a Quarter Pounder. It was at that moment I knew we'd be lifelong friends. How did he know the way to win me over was with a Big Mac? We spoke, and after the first mentoring session filled with conversation, I craved more sessions with him. I enjoyed talking to him more than anything. I could vent my problems, and he went out of his way to empathize with me. Of course, there were moments when he told me I was wrong, but he did it in a way that made me want to listen to reason. As time went on, he would meet me outside of school for special events. There really isn't anything quite like going to a Sox game in the Diamond Suite and having a fajita bar and dessert cart, as well as so many other amenities within my grasp. I don't even like sports, and I still had a blast. Pete was the first person that I told that I thought I had autism. He supported me so much and encouraged me to get tested. He was the one that spoke to my social worker about encouraging friendships with students that I felt were nice. And even though those friendships didn't blossom in the way that I hoped, he still tried to help. He was the mystery person that helped me get through my situation with Mitch back in 2016. Truth be told, had it not been for Pete, I don't know where I'd be right now. To this day, he still supports me and goes out of his way to understand me. Don't get me wrong. There are moments when he enrages me beyond belief. In fact, a big part of the comparing situations I discussed in the feeling triggered layer has to do with him. Now, he wouldn't yell and berate me when doing it, but it still made me mad. When I'm complaining about how lonely I feel about not having friends, talking to me about the starving people in Ukraine does not all of a sudden make me feel, oh, I don't need friends. I know that others have it worse than I do, but I do not care that other people have it worse than me in terms of downplaying my own problems. It didn't work for me back then, it doesn't work for me now, and it will never work for me in the future. Even though the comparing situation stopped, he definitely was part of the majority of people in 2016 that for a period of time was minimizing my situation with Mitch. Oh, did he anger me at times. He would even downplay situations that I had with other people in my life, and many looked at things from their perspective. You may be wondering, Brandon, how can you talk so highly of this man and then tear him down like this? My answer, simple, is for 3 reasons. 1, I've known my mentor for 13 years. I know that I can give him the business as long as he sees the humor in it. 2, I haven't fully let him off the hook for those moments. In fact, back then, I would write him 14-page, yes, you heard me, 14-page, single-spaced essays on why I don't like my situations compared to others. 3, I'm about to close out his biography by talking about how much he's grown as well as our relationship. So calm down. Anyways, universally, there is not a single relationship on this planet that is perfect. And despite the issues I've had with my mentor, it comes nowhere close to matching the great things he has done for me. In fact, I'm proud to discuss the times we may have had issues and when I got mad, because those experiences strengthened our relationship. I've gotten to know his kids over the years, and I've even become like sort of a relative to the family. I take the kids out for ice cream, the movies, even sometimes the zoo, as well as many other places. He has an amazing wife, who is well known for not mincing her words. Gotta love her, though. She really is amazing. Oh, fun fact. This man has 10 kids. You heard me. P has taught me so much and has helped me grow in ways that I never thought possible. And he did all this for absolutely no cost to him whatsoever. This led me to do something that is now a major part of my life. I am now a mentor. In 2018, I gradually started mentoring one kid named Daniel. Then in 2019, I worked with a former student named Michael. These 2 individuals are actually named their real names. We did a bunch of different things together, such as cooking steaks, playing video games, going to the Museum of Science and Industry, and so much more. Eventually, on Tuesday, December 29th, 2020, I decided that I want to help even more children. The joy I get from doing this outside my main job was immeasurable. In May 2021, I started a program to mentor kids with disabilities or individuals that may just need extra support. The term I use for these kids I mentor is mentees. One of my mentees' parents helped me create a social media account for my page to be more businesslike. Although I am not officially a business yet, it is something I plan on doing one day. In the meantime, helping the kids I've been helping has been nothing short of one of my greatest joys by far. All the kids I have mentored to this date have very good families and homes. Seriously, these parents would bend over backwards 2,000 times over for their kids. The kids themselves are absolutely amazing. They just have things they need to work on, sometimes perhaps more than the average person, and that's okay. My mentees have grown so much since I've worked with them, and their confidence has increased significantly. Many of the parents have gone out of their way to make that clear. In my program, we've done things such as going to arcades, going fishing, cooking food, for example, making pizza from scratch, which I'm really good at, by the way, doing science experiments, going to the museum, going to the zoo, grabbing lunch, doing outings at the mall when we also work on budgeting, volunteering, meet and greets with other mentees to forge friendships, just sitting down and talking about life, and so much more. The part about volunteering is really important to me. I am really big on volunteering. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, I was a very active volunteer leader with Chicago Cares. I served as a volunteer since December 2014, and starting in 2015, I averaged about 150 to 180 hours of volunteer work a year. In 2017, I became a leader and ran a senior breakfast project, a pet therapy project, and a 5th grade science project. These events would happen monthly, and I'd be volunteering whether or not I was leading. The amount of fulfillment I received when helping those in need was immense. Nothing could keep me away. I even remember going to volunteer on Saturday, February 10th, 2018, after a major snowstorm that took place just one day before. Even my mother didn't want me to go as the snow was still very deep, but I went anyway and volunteered. The same scenario occurred on Saturday, January 19th, 2019. When I take my mentees to arcades and do other fun activities, those are always a good time. But there isn't quite a fulfillment as deep when I take my mentees volunteering. Believe it or not, what makes it even more heartwarming is the fact that oftentimes, they don't even want to go. They low-key resent the fact that I'm making them volunteer instead of doing something fun. But after I have them do the work, there is a very noticeable look of satisfaction on their faces, sometimes even asking them to come back in the future. That's when I know I'm doing something right. I cannot overstress the importance of volunteering. This is not even just exclusively for my mentees. It also applies to kids in general. Volunteerism is such a wonderful gift to share. No amount of iPad time or V-Bucks can truly inspire the happiness and growth like the gift of service. Doing the work of this mentoring program continues to make me happy. In fact, it has made me just as happy as my profession as a teacher. I have had the privilege of being a teacher at a school that I will refer to as the E-Place. No, E does not mean e-learning. Also, I was going to go with e-school, but I think a place like that already exists. Anyways, in the 2 years I worked at the E-Place, I met some people I had the absolute worst displeasure working with. I'll circle back to that later. But the kids were phenomenal. The group of kids I am talking about were 6th graders at the time, and were the first grade level class that I started my first official teaching job with. There were a handful of them that really grew on me. Towards the second half of my first year there, they would come to my room almost every single day before classes started just to chat and talk about things going on in their life. I was often able to give them advice about how to handle situations. It was almost like mentoring within the school. I have preached before that mentoring and teaching go hand in hand to an extent. Teaching and mentoring have and will continue to be the greatest joys of my life. Being able to help children grow, not just academically, but emotionally, gives me purpose. And I can honestly say a big contributing factor to realizing this destiny of mine came from my amazing mentor. I'm actually really glad I was able to discuss the outer layer of my mentoring program. But in the next layer, I want to discuss how I've been able to help my mentees deal with their problems.